So this is my SLR107 R. It's a Bulgarian-made Arsenal AK47. And this gun here I've had for probably going on 9 years now. This is the longest I've ever owned one gun. I usually buy and sell stuff and get to what I like, but I got to this gun and this was like the AK that I just ended up liking the most, and I kept it. I've had other Arsenals. I've had a SGL 21 or SLG 21, the Russian made one. I forget what it is. The exact, it's SLG or SGL 21, but it's the Russian made AK47 just like this from Arsenal. And I had that, but I ended up selling that one just because that one and this one were really pretty much the same thing, and that one was worth more at the time, and I ended up selling it for a couple $1,000s, and I made some money off of it, and then put a little bit of money into this one to make it more how I wanted it. So this gun right here, I'll go over it. I guess we'll just go tip the butt here on it like a grand thumb and start off with the muzzle brake here. Let me pull the mag out of this thing. The gun itself's not loaded, but I keep my mags loaded just in case with this thing. So we got a BD2 Meridian Defense. That actually is, it's called a BD2-AK. If you can see that. But that thing mitigates recoil nice. Like, this thing will stay right on target with you. I mean, it's not an AR-15, obviously. It has a little more recoil than that. But it's a 30 cal. I mean, it's a lot bigger of a round coming out of this thing. So you can't really expect it to have the recoil of a 22 caliber round, basically, like an AR. So that actually works pretty good. I've had that on a couple different AKs. Ended up keeping it on this one. And it really doesn't have much flash coming out of it. It's more of a muzzle brake. It's not a flash suppressor, but I thought about doing a different one on here, more of a flash suppressor but still a muzzle brake style. But for now, just going to keep that on there. It works pretty good. I don't know about shooting it at night. It probably shoots a little bit of fire out, give away your signature. But anyway, moving back from there, this is actually off of one of my ARs. It's the see if I can find it. Century strap. These are cool because you can keep your sling stowed with these things nice, and it locks your sling like that. I put the sling around the back of the stock and then bring it up through here, and you can shoot the gun like this, especially with an AK or something that the charging handle's on this side, so nothing's in my way. I can fire the gun without the sling on, without it in my way at all. Or if I need to like get the gun out quick, all you have to do is yank this and you're ready to just sling it up and go to town. Whatever you got to do, you can just get it on there quick. So that's why I like that setup, and it's real easy to put back on if you have both your hands readily available, which I don't right now. So I'm not going to mess with that probably with one hand, but it's rare earth magnets in it, so it just slaps on right at, bam. So that thing's pretty cool. But I skipped the light. It has a Daniel Defense Picatinny rail 1-inch flashlight or light mount, whatever you want to call it. And this one's nice because it's really solid. I like Daniel Defense stuff. That's mostly what I have with ARs. But the mount's really solid. Like, you could definitely drop this thing on the light and it would probably break the light and the mount would be fine, I would suppose. It has a Surefire. I run this light on like all my guns. This one's actually a button that clicks, but you can still just momentary on and momentary off with it. The one I usually run is the tactical, I think, and it just has a momentary on only. But this one is the only one I found in stock when I got this one. This is a Surefire. It's like 79 bucks for this light, which for what you're getting, I think it's 340 lumens or something, which is enough for a light on a rifle. Like 70, so that's like $135, $140 at the most for that whole setup. Takes good batteries in there. They're like the longer, it's just one battery, I forget what they are, but I keep one in the grip back here, just a spare, just in case, you never know, might need it. And I keep a spare battery for the optic too, even though this optic here, pretty sure lasts like almost as long as an aim point because it's shake awake, so it's off, and when the gun's just sitting, and as soon as it moves, it pops it, it just flicks it on for you. So that is a hollow sun. It's the HS5, I want to say 502 or something, or 503. Forget exactly which one that is. It's been a long time. I've had that thing actually on a lot of different guns, and it's never skipped a beat on me. That thing's been solid. There's the model number if you want to look it up. It's pretty sure it's a HS503 maybe. But then this is the Automac M1-B Automac, and that replaces your gas tube, and then you just put on your optic and your flashlight or whatever your light mount on there. That's a pretty good solid setup. If you Loctite that stuff, once you get it on there, it'll never come loose. At least I've never had one come loose, and this thing has thousands of rounds through it. Never had a problem with that. And you just got to watch, because you can't put too cheap of an optic on here. This is probably about the cheapest you could go, that the heat won't kill it, because that gets hot right there with the gas system being right under it. So really, it should have an aim point on it in the grand scheme of things, but I have an aim point T2 and what's that mount? Scalar Works mount for the Mark 18, which I'll do a video on that here soon. That thing, that's an expensive setup though. I can't afford to put aim points on all my guns. Eventually they will. My main ones, like this one and my Mark 18, will both have aim points on them. But talking like a $900 optic for just that, which is crazy, when that one was like not even 200 bucks probably, 150 probably, I forget. But I got this Russian Zenico charging handle on here, which is a good charging handle, and it's nice. You gotta Loctite the screws or that will come loose. But I had a really bad mishap at the range the other month with this thing. I didn't shoot it in a while, and I was shooting it from a rest, shooting it to zero it in, but make sure it was zeroed in good still, because I didn't shoot it in a long time. And I was shooting my AR, and I kind of had a cross, you know, like sitting with my arm like this, holding, stabilizing the gun, shooting the AR. Well, the red dot, or that was actually with my 1:8 LPVO and my 14.5, but I was putting my hand like this behind the LPVO to stabilize the gun real stable to shoot at long distance. And what happened was I went to shoot this next and didn't even think about it at all, and did the same thing and kind of squeezed the gun right here, not even thinking that my hand was in the direct path of the charging handle right here. And I'll put a picture in the video if you want to see it. But it blew my finger apart. It smashed my finger back into here. It jammed the gun. Felt like I took like a 5-pound sledgehammer and just had my finger on like something on steel and just smashed it. The thing comes back so hard, so that was dumb on my part. I don't know why I did that. I was like not thinking. I was shooting ARs all day, and then I just happened to get this out, and like, I'm gonna shoot that target from here with this. And I was focused so much on the red dot and making the shot, which I made the shot, but I just totally smashed my finger into here. So going back from there, this is the Krebs Custom Enhanced Safety, which if with an AK, you kind of have to dial this stuff in yourself to get this perfect. Like, you have to put this up and bend it and get it exactly how you want it, because you want it to lock up, you know, on safe pretty hard. Like, it's safe, it's not going to come down, but you also want it to where when you're shooting it, you can take your one finger and just make it go down, you know, with one finger. It's going to be hard probably sometimes to put on safe with one finger if it's tight enough, but you can easily get this thing off safe with one finger, and that's what you want. But you still want it to lock into safe good enough that obviously the gun's going to be safe. and not just come right off. So it's a fine line. You got to mess with it a little bit. Everything on these you have to kind of custom fit. Even the automatic, you got to mess with it and get it right. It ain't like an AR where you just put everything on in one shot and it's right. You almost have to test fit everything first, especially before you Loctite screws. So moving back from there, I think I skipped the sling. This is a Vickers Blue Force sling, and it's adjustable and stuff. It's a pretty nice sling. I usually run this sling on every gun I have. Most of mine, though, are the padded ones, which I would recommend, especially with a gun this heavy, because this thing will tear your neck up, being that it's like that. If you're really using the gun a lot at the range and stuff and putting a lot of hours in, you're going to have like rope burn around your neck pretty much. So I recommend the padded one like I have with my ARs. I just never got one for this yet. So that's what the sling is. And I think these are like BCM QD sling mounts. And this piece here is a pretty cool setup. It's an AR-15 buffer tube, M4 style buffer tube setup, and it goes right on the AK, and it has QD mounts on both sides, and it's a nice setup. I really like that. That's the best setup I've ever had. Then you have an adjustable stock, just like an AK or an AR. You can make it small if you need to store it, or you can bring it back to wherever position you want it, 6th position like a normal AR-15 stock. And pretty sure it's J-Mac Customs is who makes that. If you look at that logo, you can see, I'm pretty sure it's J-Mac Customs. I'm pretty sure that's what I remember. It's been probably 5 years ago that I put that on there, but that thing is worth it. It fits so good. It's like perfect fit. It's never came loose. I just Loctited the screws right away. And they make one for a slant receiver or the flat straight receiver like this one is. That's a pretty nice setup, in my opinion. Probably one of the best setups you're going to put on an AK to make it fit you right. Like, this gun is like shooting an AR pretty much, besides has a little more recoil and it feels a little more mechanical. You know, it's got a piston driven setup versus a DI AR, I'm saying direct impingement. But yeah, I got the MOE SLK stock. It's a real little one. It's not a bad stock. I kind of like it on this gun. It kind of looks nice with it. It fits the gun more than like a big bulky one. I usually run BCM stocks on my ARs. That's what you'll see on them. This is a US Palm grip, and that's my favorite grip for the AK, the US Palm. That's a nice one. It's almost perfect. It's grippy, but it fits your hand nice. So that's the US Palm. I forget what they call that, the battle grip. Another one that it's just like it. It's like a TG or T something battle grip. It's literally the newer version of this. I think it's a different company that bought them out. So you have to look at that if you want one of those. But they still sell them. Just it's a different name. Same exact thing. So the trigger stock in this thing, and I usually put a ALG AKT trigger in my AKs, but I just haven't did it with this one because this one feels pretty good stock, and I could get a closer pull and stuff and a little bit shorter reset and all that, but I'm really not trying to make this thing like a, it's more of a gun I want to keep like fully as reliable as possible, just in case I ever needed it for any kind of situation. I want it to be stock. OEM parts are reliable. I didn't touch the action in here at all. I think I did polish the bottom of the bolt and maybe the top of the hammer just to smooth it out a little bit, because you can get them a little smoother even than an Arsenal is. These are pretty smooth, but if you polish the bolts in it, it's smooth. But like, say you take a Wasser 10 and do that stock, it's like, it's not like this. It's real gritty and rough. And then you can polish it, the bottom of the bolt and the top of the hammer and stuff, and you can make a Wasser 10 just as smooth as this one. I've done it. Wasser 10s are good if you get one that isn't canted too bad. If you can find one that everything's lined up on straight, they're just as good as any other AK, really, reliability-wise and accuracy, really, if it's a straight one. But they're usually canted because the quality control just wasn't that great. So you have to get a 1063, and the older ones, really, and then make sure you get one that's straight. I've had one before, and I sold it, but it was a really straight, good one. Shot just as good as this. But these are Circle 10 mags. This is what I would recommend for like a go to war mag. Bakelights are good too. They're hard to get. It's a real one, and I've had that for probably just as long as I've had this gun. But the Bakelite or the Circle 10 or the steel ones, even the stamp steel ones, they're fine too usually. But these are the ones that I would really trust this thing to run perfect, even though it does with every other mag. These would be like the one I would take if I needed one to make sure this thing's gonna like definitely run and I don't have to worry about it at all having any issues, which this gun's never had a single issue with any mag. But just to eliminate all variables, possibilities, these are the best mags probably you can buy for an AK. And they just fit good, and they lock in right, and they just work nice. They feed the gun perfect. But yeah, that's pretty much my review on this thing. I've shot thousands of rounds through this gun, and like I said, it's never skipped a beat. It's never had any single issue at all, and it's been great. I don't really have anything bad to say about it for sure. I like it a lot. That's why I had it so long. Usually, I went through so many different guns to get to the collection I have now. Like, just so many different pistols, so many different rifles, so many different pistol caliber rifles, like, to get to the setup I have now, till I found ones that I actually was right. Like, I started out with, like, I think it was a Delton parts kit, AR-15, build, and I think that was the first AR I had. And the first AK I had was, actually it was a Saiga or whatever. It's the one where the trigger was back here, and it was like a Sporter or whatever. They used to be cheap back in the early 2000s when I bought it. And then from there, I got rid of that and got a Wasser 1063, and because I wanted one with the trigger forward. But we ended up taking my buddies, and I did all the gunsmithing, and we moved his trigger forward and put a pistol grip on it here and made it like a real AK, and he still has that thing, and they're a really good, actually, they're Russian, so it's a really good platform. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Next time I go to the range, I'll try to get some shooting footage of this thing. It's accurate though, I only shoot out to 100 yards, but it's accurate well past that. It's just hard to shoot that far with a red dot, unless you got really good vision. So, yep, that's my SLR107, and stay tuned. I will make some videos of my Mark 18 and my 14.5 Daniel Defense. It's basically a M4 V7, pretty much. So, that camo one, I don't know if I ever had that on here, but probably it has a 1-8 LPVO and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one.